Good morning. I don't know where the camera is. All right, much better. So, sorry for the video that didn't get posted last week. The internet at school was down. I left my computer. Wasn't at work Friday. So here we are. I figured I would give you a brief video of what was happened in the first day of school for those of you who were not here and were distant learning, and for my period 7 who still has not had his first day of school. So on Google Classroom, there is the opening forms, and on the opening forms, sorry, I wear glasses. I'm blind, just taking them off for the glare. All right. So there is the student survey, the guardian survey. If you have not filled those out, please, please, please do so. If there is a nickname that you want me to call you, so say your name is Robert and you want me to call you Rob, put that on the student form. If your name is Robert and you want me to call you Uncle TT, I'm not calling you that. So just make sure that it's realistic for your teacher to call you, but I don't mind calling you a nickname. I did have a kid, without saying his real name, let's say his name was Chris and he wanted me to call him Matt. I'm fine with that kind of thing. That's your personal preference, whatever. My classroom is a safe space. There's a cheating policy that I want everybody to read through, and it basically just says that if you are caught cheating, you and the person who was cheating will get a 0. My policy stands. I only call you out on cheating if I have the exact proof of cheating. So it usually is something written, not necessarily a basic math problem. It's usually one of our written out things, and it's word for word copied. Now, if it's a sentence, I don't call that cheating. But if you have paragraph copied, I'm just going to copy and paste it into each other and you'll both be cheating. So even if you do work together, which a lot of my assignments, I'm okay with that. Just make sure, one, you credit who you worked with, so that when I see the similarities, I am not like, ooh, I think they cheated. And 2, make sure you paraphrase as far as writing in your own words. Working together is cool, but you shouldn't have the same exact thoughts. I put an opening checklist up there, and that was just more for you to, did I do everything I was supposed to? The part about the project we did not get to yet. We probably won't get to for another week or two because I don't do that on the first 2 days. What is your math learning style? That is also important for you, so that those of you who are like, oh, I struggle in math or I didn't like this math class, it might be because a teacher stick to one math style, and you might want to recognize that so you can address that. Hey, miss, my learning style said I'm this way. Can you help me understand how this can better help me in this assignment or this lesson? Those type of things. It also helps you with study skills. So when we talk about ways you can study for quizzes, tests, big exams, just in life in general, learning your learning style helps you study better. If you know that your study habits is hands-on, you're gonna have to physically do something while you're studying, right? If you know your learn style, is visual, you'll know you'll have to write down your notes, read your notes, write down your notes, read your notes. So there's different ways to study depending on your learning style. And then the opening letter, I'm gonna skim through it briefly. On the opening letter, there is briefly my policies. At first, it's, please read this with your parents. It's saying, hello, who am I? It also tells you about, hold on. So much fun like this, right? All right. So, briefly who I am. It says that I utilize Google Classroom, and that's where your most up-to-date feedback is going to be. So I put all my assignments on Google Classroom. Even before COVID, I utilized Google Classroom for all my big projects anyway, because it's easy for me to go right into the assignment and put a comment or a suggestion, and then you can change it. A lot of my big assignments, I have 2 turn-in dates. The first one is for me to tell you if you're on the right track or you need to fix some things. And then the second one is if you wanted to fix some things. Some people, they don't want to fix their mistakes and they just turn it back in. That's up to you. But I try my hardest to give you some feedback. And the feedback will most likely be on Google Classroom, especially if we're learning in this style more so during the year, and not in PowerSchool. Once I put it in PowerSchool, those grades are solid. That's what your grade is. There's no redoing that. There's no fixing that. There's no extra credit to that. The extra credit will come on Google Classroom. The corrections will come on Google Classroom. Usually if the assignment, let's say, is due on a Friday, I give you until that Wednesday to make corrections. So I put it in Power School maybe that following Friday. So you have about a week to make corrections or turn it in late or all that fun stuff. But once I put it in Power School, that grade is solid. So make sure you're frequently turning and opening your Google Classroom. I suggested to everyone to put it on their phones and put alerts. If you don't want to put alerts on your phone, put email alerts on your phone. Whatever you have to do, because if I submit something back to you, it's because I want you to look at it. And if you don't, I might just submit it back on a Thursday and it needs to be done by a Friday. So you want to look at that. And since you already did your assignment, it should be a matter of just making some corrections. I would never give you, a big assignment for one day, but I will say make some corrections for one day. So turn your Google Classroom notifications on. I will utilize Google Meets. I found last year when I had a YouTube channel, well, I still have a YouTube channel, and I found that when we go live, there was more interaction and I can help with more questions at that moment. So I will try my hardest to go Google Meet. I wanted to do it during regular class time, but you guys have distant learning with another teacher. So I will try my hardest to post videos. That failed the first time, so we'll have to find a different way for me to do that. But if we are home like this, then plan to be Google Meets to follow our schedule. It's just much easier to do it that way. If you have any questions, there's my email, and then there's a text line. So the text line is very important. People are already utilizing it, and I am responding, right? So the text line, you can't call it. It's a Google Voice number. However, it comes straight to my phone like a text message, which means I can answer it in an instant. Sometimes I am a little busy or overwhelmed because I got other things at home with my 2 children, but for the most part, I get back from that text message that day. Where email might take me a day or two if I'm off or if it's the weekend. The text message won't. So on a Saturday, if you had a quick question, Miss, where's the form, blah, 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 blah. Or Miss, I have a question on this homework assignment. Can you tell me how I'm supposed to figure out how to raise this radical? I could answer it quickly on a text message, right? So save that Google text number. Your parents can text that number if they have a question. If you're confused about call outs from school, right? So these 2 days, they sent a message yesterday that there wasn't school and you were a little bit confused about it. Text me, Miss, do we have school tomorrow? I will quickly answer you, yes or no. So, that's where you utilize that text number. It's a fast, quick, easier way to get my help on something, especially when we're distant learning, because this becomes so hard. And how Google Classroom works, when they send notifications to my phone, it sends them all in bulk. So if 5 people ask me a question on the quiz, it's going to say, the 5 names commented on the quiz. And then I have to go find each of the name. If you have a quick question, it's so much easier to text me because it comes up individually and I can text you back. Now, I'm not saying don't use Google Classroom, because Google Classroom is still effective, because sometimes those questions, other people have them and I can answer them on that platform, okay? I also have a dog who's gonna bark randomly, which he's about to do now. Sorry. All right, also on this form. So I didn't put office hours on this opening form. Math office hours are Tuesday. The reason why I didn't do that is because I utilize technology a lot more than most. And I say that to say that I have the text line where you can text me whenever. Google Classroom is hooked up to my phone for notifications, so you truly can notify me whenever. Well, if it gets to the point where we're distant learning completely, I found that some kids, they just worked better at nighttime. And I didn't want to make a cutoff where you can only ask me a question from 2 to 2:30, because the truth is that would be unfair to some of the kids. So the office hours, yes, I'm available Tuesday from 2:30 for text questions, but I'm available whenever you need me for text questions. If something is happening where I'm unavailable, I'll get back to you as soon as I am available, which is very rarely that I don't answer you back that same day if you text me or send me a alert. If it's an email, again, sometimes those don't come to my phone. I don't have data for my email, so when I'm out and about, I don't get that. Text message, I do. Grading. Tests and projects are 30%. Because of the platform we're working on, giving a big test is not only hard, but for math, it's not real